Oh, hey there, guys. We're here on Hill's doorstep, otherwise known as Arizona, and they're talking about 115 degrees today. And I want to move camp. So, yeah, this is a good way to, besides, your system being in working order and refrigerant and all that up, this is a good way to add, 10 to 15 degrees cooler air coming out of your system because most people don't know, but the heater core is right next to the AC side of the evaporator, and there's just this little piece of plastic behind the door and some seals around it that moves back and forth. And when that stuff dies, it doesn't. It'll cool, but not as good. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put a valve to eliminate the heater core, so the heater core doesn't get hot from the motor and lets the AC do its maximum job it could do. Come on, it's a $10 fix. It's easy. Check it out. So here's your heater lines. The one comes from your water pump over here, comes up, feeds the heater core, and the other one comes back out. This is the steam bypass for your head, and this is back to return to the radiator. You need to be kind of get an idea, maybe ask around a little bit, double check that you're doing the right line. But this is a line I'm going to cut into here. Like I said, that the heater core is just inside of the truck here, and here's the evaporator of the AC. So yeah, and dryer and all that, but these are AC components. They're right next to each other. It transfers a lot of heat from this side over to this side. So what we're going to do here is put this valve in here, and that'll cut out a lot of the issues. So this is what we got going on here. Universal heater fitting. You could get cable mounted ones, you get vacuum operated ones. This is just universal one. This particular one's from AutoZone, if you guys want to look at that part number there. But it's just virtually a ball valve. You screw it all the way in clockwise, shuts the flow off, back it back all the way out, turns it on. For this setup, because the pressure's coming off the water pump, you want to feed it into this side, the bottom side of the ball valve. It's typically where you want the pressure, not on the top side, because if not, it can pull the button off at the end of the screw. And yeah, anyways, feed it from this side. So we're going to put it in here like this. We're going to cut right into that line right there. And to do that, there's only a couple of tools that you need. I love these things for cutting hoses. They just live in my tool bag, but they're PVC cutters. They ratchet down. Sometimes you got to put your thumb on them to get it started when it's something squishy like hose, but they work really good for cutting hose. We're going to use those. 5/16 nut driver and some hose clamps that we should probably go find before we cut this hose. So let's do this. So now that we've established the line we're going to cut, I want to kind of pre-prep everything here, so make sure my hose clamp's going to slide over. I'm going to back it off a little bit. You're going to lose a little bit of coolant out of your system when you do this, so just be mindful. We'll get our hose going to select. We got our lines prepped. We're going to put this bad boy in here. And I know you guys are going to hate me for this, but we'll lube it up a little bit. I just spit on it, wipe it around a little. Yeah, nut driver ready, hose clamp ready. Thing will probably sit right about here nicely. You know what, actually I want to go up a little bit, so it's, yeah, I want to go right here. Ratchet this guy down, and here's where I was talking about. You just hold it and make sure your system is cool and not under pressure. You can check that by popping the cap, the little relief lever on the cap. But yes, these systems could build a lot of pressure and could really hurt you. So we take our hose clamps that I'm just constantly trying to lose today, put them on here. I prefer to do the same orientation. Slide this bad boy in here. And with coolant and stuff, it does want to slide on fairly easy, but sometimes if you're doing this with the dry hose, it will not slide right on. So yeah, make sure they're seated all the way up and square. Don't bind it over when you tighten it up like this. You want it in a nice, where the hose is relaxed position. And just tighten up your hose clamp. And don't get carried away. You know, you want the thing tight, but you don't want to just muscle it so much and you get to a point where it'll just strip out the hose clamp. And nowadays hose clamps are so hit and miss with quality. The biggest trick when you do this is you want to have the hose clamp as far out from the fitting as possible this way, so it has the furthest room to travel down the fitting before it actually pops off. But you want it behind that little barb, that raised area that was on the end of the valve. You want to keep the end of the fitting behind that. So there we go. So far it feels like a hose clamp that I like, snug down nicely. And you can see here how, especially like in the shadow, how there's that little raised bump right there. That means that I pulled the hose clamp down nicely around that barb. That's going to want to stay there. So for winter operations, you're going to want to back this thing all the way off, just counterclockwise. And you don't have to jam it open. There's plenty of flow right there. And just being an old waterman, have it open the valve all the way and then half turn back down, so it frees everything up. Being that it's the summer though, and I want to try to get the maximum AC that I can, I'm going to screw this bad boy all the way in. And again, you just want it to seat. You don't want it, you don't need to wrench it, you don't need to use tools. Just give it a little snugging. Snugging's good enough. There we go. Just for good measures, one more time. Check this. While you're at it and under the hood, you probably ought to check all your fluids. The half a cup, quarter of a cup that dripped out while we were doing this is not a negligible amount of coolant to even worry about adding anything to. If you do use distilled water, hose water is not the best, especially modern vehicles with they got so many different types of metal in them, aluminums, alloys, steels, that sort of thing. Electrolysis happens, which is a transferring of electronic particles between different metals, so that everything in nature is trying to hit equilibrium. So if you add anything like tap water in that's just full of minerals, it accelerates that process big time. So anyways, a little tangent side note there. Check all your fluids, make sure your belt's in good shape, air filter, all that. It's all common stuff you need to do when you're under the hood. Happy camping. Hope you stay cool out there this summer. Look at that. I'm already sweating. And it's 7:30 in the morning. Oh, Arizona.